We are back with another episode of the Executive Function Coaching Academy News. Today, we're going to be talking about what to do when your executive function coaching practice doesn't really feel like a real job. And what I mean by that is maybe you're not charging for a lot of the stuff you're doing, you're feeling like an administrative assistant, you're worried that if you ask for pay for things that you're doing, that people might drop you or you can't charge more. So we're going to delve into that deeply. But first, you may notice I'm recording from a different location. We're taking this show on the road. I am in New York City today. We're visiting my wife's family. I'm in Harlem, New York. I actually went to school here, the City College of New York. So that is the new setting, just out of VRBO here, away from my home in California. So anyways, let's jump into it. And let's get started. Let me show you a little overview of what we're going to focus on today. So the first thing, for this episode of the news is, you might be saying to yourself, I'm feeling like an administrative assistant to my clients. Okay, now what does this look like in practice? Maybe you're texting parents and students every day trying to keep them on track. I remember when I first started my coaching practice, I would text all my students their missing assignments every day, and usually not for additional pay. I can't remember the exact details when I started, but I had to learn after a while, like, oh, to make this sustainable, I have to charge for my services. So maybe you're on the phone, texting, even though you're only getting paid for one session a week or something like that. Another thing you might be experiencing in this type of scenario is you feel like you're delivering so much value, right? Maybe you are helping them with their college prep, with their SATs, you're tracking a bunch of stuff, but you're really only charging right now for coaching sessions. So that stuff can feel frustrating. Now that's the frustrating part, but then what impact does that have on your coaching practice? So if you're not charging for that stuff, you might be starting to feel like, maybe I'll just find a real job. Like with teaching, I go to work and I leave, even though I don't really enjoy it. At least it's predictable. I'm not running around like a chicken with my head cut off, wasting my energy all day and not getting paid for things. Maybe you're feeling like because of this, you're not making enough to replace your current teaching income. So you thought, okay, I'm going to jump to coaching, and yeah, maybe I'm charging $150 a session or something like that, but I'm doing 2 to 3 hours of work per client a week, even though I'm charging for one session. So there's all types of things that could come up because of this that make you think, maybe coaching, or I'm not set out to be a business owner or a tutor or coach. So I don't know what I had. Oh yeah, the last thing I want to share with you is you might be thinking, I want to raise my rates, I want to charge for these things, but I don't want to scare my clients away. Or I didn't write that into my terms of service when I got these first clients that I have right now, so I can't switch it up on them now. So all those things are real. Coaches go through that all the time. I went through it, and I'm going to walk you through what you can do here. So let's jump into it. So how do you make coaching a real job? So first off, the truth is there's no beating around it. You have to charge for your expertise, right? But the mistake a lot of coaches make is they think, okay, I got to charge for every minute. And then people are like, why are you charging? They call you, they say, oh, you're penny pinching or whatever, nickel and diming me, and they make you feel bad, and then you don't do it. So there's a way around this, which is charge by the session or set really clear expectations up front. And I talk about setting and getting expectations so that you're really clear up front. So let's go into a couple things you can do here. So one thing you might want to do is have a base price. Now, here's what that could look like. One mistake I made early on in my coaching practice was I was like, yeah, we can do hour-long sessions, 30-minute sessions, 20-minute sessions. But the problem is when you do that is that you start to burn yourself out. So if you're doing 30-minute sessions and you don't get enough done, people are like, oh, it's not worth it, right? So I think at a minimum, what I found works is you have a base price. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So at EF Specialist at the time of this recording, we're charging $185 per session. Now, this also means that with this one session minimum per week, you get up to 45 minutes of coaching, plus 15 minutes of meeting prep, follow-up, and a progress note. And the parents and students can choose how they want that. Maybe they want something via text, maybe they want a quick phone call after the session. But this way, even though you're getting paid by the session or for the full hour, you're also building in the time for that coaching, that pre-work or follow-up, right? And you're giving some of it for free theoretically here, but you're building into your pricing. Now, some of you, if you're running a small one-person practice, you could charge more than that, right? Like you might be able to charge 250 or 220 or something for the session, and that builds in the follow-up, the prep work, and all that stuff at a kind of threshold, right? You don't want to be like unlimited phone calls after. You might say up to 15 minutes in addition to the 45-minute one-to-one session. So having that base price is going to set you up to make this a real job while also giving you a little flexibility. Now, the next step here is that you want to have upsell additional services. So what you might say on your phone call or your discovery call is you say, hey, we have a minimum, of one session per week. But if you're wanting more phone calls, if you're wanting to check in about your college prep plan, whatever it is, the stuff that you're already doing, you could say, we can add in another session per week and I'll give you a 10% discount on both sessions so they feel like they're saving money. Or you could say, or I can charge by, 15-minute increments, right? So that might look like, hey, we did one session a week, and then if you want to jump on a call, I'll charge you for a half an hour. So if your session is, let's say, $200 an hour, you could charge 50% of that for the 30-minute call. So 200 plus 100, $300 per the week, right? And if you use something like TutorBird, which I recommend people to use, you can bill by the hour. So you can just put in the fragment of the hour, like the 30-minute block, and it'll automatically calculate that based on your hourly rate. So that's kind of like starting with a base package and adding in additional services, which is a great way to deliver value and then upsell your services. Okay, now another thing you can do is raising your prices on new clients. So let's say you're charging $150 per session right now, and you're like, ooh, I feel like I'm kind of scared to raise my rates. What you can do is on all new clients, you can raise your rate to 175 or 200. So you don't have to necessarily raise your rates on existing clients to start making more money. You can say, okay, that's my base kind of like monthly income. Now I'm going to start raising my rates because there's more demand. And that's a great way to start kind of making this a job and less of a hobby, is you start to raise your rates and you start to test like how much can you charge. Now you might be scared like, oh, what if someone pushes back or they don't want to pay it or they say it's not worth it? So a couple things you can do here. One thing you can do is if someone pushes back on your pricing and says, why are you worth it? Or like, really, someone else is charging less. You could say, well, what made you want EF coaching right now? So you're reversing it back to them to remember why they came to get coaching. That's called a reversal. Another thing you say is, yeah, we're not the cheapest. I know that, right? So it's not always good to be the cheapest. There's a little study that was done where someone was given 3 glasses of wine, and one wine had a little label of like cheapest, the middle wine had a middle most expensive, and the third wine had the most expensive. And people tried these wines, and which wine do you think they thought was the best? It turns out the one that was labeled the most expensive was universally seen as the best wine. Now here's the kicker, all the wines were the same, but sometimes when people pay more, they value it more. So I say people who pay attention, all right? So that's something you can do there. Now, another thing you can do is always be revising your services and updating them. How many times do you get emails from companies where you're subscribed to Apple's terms of service or whatever it might be, and they're like, we've updated our terms of service? You're like, yep, I agree, right? You don't even think about it. So what I suggest to all new coaches to do is start with your terms of service. Let me show you what that looks like. So in the Coaching Academy, I have a sample terms of service, and what I suggest you do is have something like charges. Following the 15 minutes of consultation per session, all meetings and communications are charged at your billable rate. So once you know, you do better, right? And so this is actually in the community. We have this thing on the contract, and I have a bunch of information on this that can help you as well as a sample terms of service. Okay, so you've got tools here, right? Terms of service, you could just build that on ChatGPT very quickly and revise it each time. So make a thread on ChatGPT and revise it. If you want a pre-built one, I have my Coaching Niche Toolkit course here, which comes with a pre-built contract that you can modify for yourself. This is $11. So very small investment. If you're not happy with it within the first 7 days, I guarantee a refund. So it's something you can try. There's also the 90-day paid client plan if you want to go deeper with that. So in the community, if you end up deciding to join, I have a 90-day plan here where you can build all these things out, draft your value proposition, make a list of people that you're going to reach out to, and this will help you get started. And I'm guaranteeing your first paid client if you go through all of this and do the action steps. I guarantee you'll have your first paid client, or you can continue at no cost. So those are some tools that will help you get started. Let's see what else we got on here to help you. For anyone who has not done the certification course, I highly recommend doing that because let me show you here in the certification course, the first meeting in it, let me walk you through that. The first meeting in it is actually, I built this. I might as well show you what's inside here. So the first meeting in it guides you through set yourself up for success before day one. So that's how you run these discovery calls, how you build your onboarding and sign up form. So there's examples of that. Let me show you here. Like I have a guide on how to set up your sign up form. And then I'm also gonna include here, this is a link to what that could look like. So for example, on that sign up form, we have those expectations set up in the terms of service agreement. What I do is I just link a Google Doc to this, or no, we're actually using Power Forms here. I used to use a Google Doc, and they just click that. And then, for example, like all these little agreements, like I agree to this pricing, I agree to the fact that you charge for this stuff. So it just takes them to our page where those terms are. So a lot of coaches have set this up. You can do it too. It's not impossible. So that is kind of the big picture for how you set this up. You set expectations, you revise them as you learn more, and you can do this. When people pay, they pay attention. I know it feels scary to kind of set your boundaries, but boundaries are where you end and they begin, and you can set these up and you'll start making more money. You'll start feeling better about this. You'll start having less resentments for clients who push your boundaries and take up your time. You can do this. It's hard, but you can do it. And if you want to dig deeper on this, a good book just to get you in the mindset of this is Set Boundaries, Find Peace. That's been an excellent book to help me kind of like set boundaries, because it can be hard as an educator when we're used to giving our expertise away for free often. Okay, so that is your guide for that. I want to go into some wins. So if you are a community member watching this, I want to encourage you to share your wins. We're going to go into the wins section, and let's go to one of our most recent wins by Isabel. Isabel is an executive function coach who lives in Guatemala, I believe. She's starting her executive function coaching practice. And one of the things she did when she came through the Coaching Academy was she learned about our evergreen webinar template. So she built one out, she shared it with a bunch of people, and she had 17 people log in for her webinar, which is amazing. That's more than I get sometimes when I create a webinar. And she also gained her first paying clients. So she did absolutely amazing, crushed it. Got tons of value from taking the certification. So just so you know, that is like what's possible is you could learn how to set up your webinar. And if you're curious about that, let me jump in here. The cool thing about school here is all the resources are here. So I give away these free webinar frameworks where you can build your first webinar in the community. So check that out if you're interested. And then let's go into the wise word section. I love quotes. So your clients aren't pushy, you just don't have boundaries. Now that's not your fault. We have to learn how to set boundaries. We have to have challenging experiences. So you got to own that, right? It's not their problem, it's your problem, it's your business. Build a business that serves you and not the other way around. And then the other thing is, people can never pay your value. The value you create for your clients is immeasurable. I mean, if you help a kid learn how to be organized and learn how to set goals and project manage, that skill set is going to go with them for the rest of their lives. So people are never going to be able to pay the value, but they will pay your rate. And your rate can be whatever you decide it is, because it's not a race to the bottom in terms of rates. You're basing your rates on the value you create in someone's life. So how valuable is it for a kid to learn executive function skills? And I think it's immeasurable. All right, so final thoughts on here. I want you to acknowledge the pain. Yes, it is frustrating. You're going to have to make changes to your business. It's not going to happen magically. Then you're going to take ownership of it and start to adjust your business. Small tweaks, big peaks is what I tell people. And tweak your process. Just constant iterations. Nothing ever starts out perfect. You have to make tweaks. I've been working on this stuff for 5 years. I'm still figuring it out, but man, it has gotten better over time. I promise you that. The things that felt impossible 2 years ago are like normal now. So you can do this. So thank you so much for joining today for the Executive Function Coaching Academy News. I hope you got something valuable from this. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comments below. And actually, if you're watching this on YouTube, drop in either what was your most valuable takeaway or what questions you have. I will answer them in an upcoming newscast, and I'll see you soon.